Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are here with a board game review. Back to the reviews now that we're into the 140 block of episodes. So this week we are going to be reviewing the 2018 Spiel des Jahres winner, Azul. Azul was released in 2017, designed by Michael Kiesling, art by Philip Guerin and Chris Quilliams, published by Plan B Games here in the States. It plays 2 to 4 players and takes 30 to 45 minutes. Zach, do you have a rules rundown for us?
Yes, I do. In Azul, you're drafting tiles to place them on your board. When it's your turn, you can draft one color of tiles from different suppliers and place them on your player board. Any tiles you do not pick get moved into a common pile in the center, with the first player token going to the first to grab from the center. Everyone will then take turns drafting colors until there are no more tiles left. Then any completed sections of tiles get scored when you place them, and any tiles that you could not put on your board will give you negative points. Completing rows, colors, and columns will net you extra points. And once a row has been filled, the game ends, and whoever has the most points wins.
Indeed. So let's dive into some initial thoughts here. Jeff, you have played this by far the most recently. So what were your initial thoughts going into Azul?
I've heard of this game being talked about for years now. I had never played it until we wanted to start reviewing it. I knew it was like a tile drafting game. There was a real big issue that made the game completely unplayable, where the first player marker was not a cool tile.
It was a cardboard token.
That was easily mistaken for a proof of purchase token and commonly thrown out with the punch board.
So much so that our friend Paul did that same thing.
Literally unplayable. Besides that, I've heard it's a fantastic game. It's very highly regarded. And then I played it.
Okay. Zach, do you remember at all your thoughts going into Azul?
Not really, but I mean, I felt like I had heard good things before I played it, and so I was like, oh, I will like to try it out.
Yeah, I think it was similar for me. I also don't remember. It was definitely back towards when it first came out. I don't even know who first.
I thought it was you.
Yeah, because you thought I had it. I thought you had it. We were both wrong. But I remember hearing good things, and I remember being interested in it when I first played it. So that's about all I remember.
I've also seen the fancy giant edition long before I played it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I definitely had not.
I have seen it.
I had no idea how to play this giant game that I am looking at.
Yeah.
So someone brought it, Brandon brought it to Geekway last year.
Yeah.
Indeed. So that lets us move over into some components now that we're done with initial thoughts. The components for this game are pretty solid, aside from that first edition issue that was already mentioned about it being solidly unplayable. Literally
unplayable.
Just burnt copies being thrown out the door.
Throw the whole thing in the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. It consists basically of a few player boards, a few circular cardboard discs for like the stores or the
Factories?
shops.
Factories is what they call it, yeah.
And then
it's suppliers, and your board is a factory or something like that.
I thought
Maybe
your
that's
board
what-
was the mosaic.
Yeah.
Well, it also I don't know. It's all
The game's so dry it doesn't matter.
And then it comes with a whole bunch of different colored square tiles.
yeah, like 3/5 of them are like have a pattern on them, and the other 2 look like starbursts.
Yeah, they're red and blue.
Red and blue.
Starbursts, respectively.
Teal, black, yellow.
And those have patterns on them.
Yep.
So
Yeah. They do all look like candies. Even the ones with patterns, I still think kind of look like candies.
I mean, they do. You're
the
not wrong.
entire set wants to be eaten.
I would eat all of this.
Yeah. If you have a small child, they might legitimately try to eat these as candy. They're really good, nice quality.
I would hashtag choke a toddler with this game.
There's your review right there. We need to get that on the box somehow. But I think the tiles in particular are fantastic. The rest of it's, I mean, just punch board. It's nothing really that special.
Box is pretty.
The box is pretty.
Just like the rest of the game.
The circular factory tiles have art like kind of a graphic design, like an art design thing on them, but that's it. And they're all the same. The player boards are also all the same. They're double-sided. One side has, for where you're going to be trying to build your mosaic, they have like a fixed pattern so that the red tile will always go in the same spot in all 5 of your rows. And then on the back side, it's just a gray pattern, so you can make your own. And we'll talk more in the gameplay about how you still have to follow certain rules about the patterns on that back side.
That sounds like rules to me, not gameplay.
You're not wrong. We'll talk probably about it more in rules. They also, every player board includes a scoring track, so you keep your own score on your own board, and then they have an area for where the tiles are going to go.
You're wasted.
Whether they're like about to go onto your mosaic, on your mosaic, or the wasted ones.
On the floor.
And then a little bit of a scoring area of like your quick reference for points.
Yes.
Yep.
So pretty well laid out, I think, from a graphic design perspective. But again, there's not much there overall. So anything else you guys wanted to cover for components?
Didn't they change the blue and red to have some sort of design on them? Or did they do that in the...
There's like an alternate one there's things you can buy
that
have it.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I think components are fairly... like you said, not much there, but like there's nothing bad.
There's certainly nothing bad. Yeah. Well, now that they fixed again that start player thing.
Yeah,
that's
which obviously unplayable.
Tile.
Literally unplayable.
Literally unplayable, yes. The game was a 1 when it had that because you just can't.
0.1.
Yeah. 0.1. But yeah, no, it's all of them work well. Like the color, like I do wish, I don't know, has red and blue ever been bad for colorblind?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Red green?
Yeah,
red green is one of the bad ones.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good that they're different colors, but also different patterns on there too.
Yeah.
Bag's nice.
It comes with a big bag to hold all the tiles because you draw them out kind of randomly.
Mm-hmm. Insert, from what I remember, is good.
Mm-hmm. Relatively small box. It's a smaller game. Not the biggest. So cool. Let's do some rules and rules explanation then, since components are so simple to cover. So basically, this game's going to be played over a series of rounds, and each round you refresh all of the factories from the bag. So you draw out of the bag enough to put 4 tiles on every factory, and then you start playing. And whoever is the start player for that round chooses one of the factories where they take a color. They choose a color on that factory, and they take all of that color, and everything else goes into the center, and then you put them on your board in your like prep space where you would like them to go. You keep doing that until all the tiles are gone. It goes to the next player, and they do the same thing, and the next player. And once there are tiles in the center, you can pull from the center in a similar way where you take all of one color from the center. You keep doing that until all the tiles are taken. Once all the tiles are taken, the stuff that is in your like prep area then moves over into your mosaic, and potentially some of it then, if it's placed poorly, falls down onto the floor and scores negative points. The first player is a token that goes in the center, and the first person to take from the center gets that, and it automatically falls to the floor. So by taking first player, you're getting some negative points every round. You score all your points for your placements, and then you pull out of the bag and go again. And you keep doing that.
Basically 2 bag fills worth?
Typically, that's about how often the bag gets filled, because anything that's discarded doesn't go back in the bag until the bag's empty, and then everything goes back in. But you're really playing until one person has completed a full column on their mosaic. Full row, you're right.
Yes.
That's
horizontal.
Yeah, that's why columns are worth more points.
Yes. So, yeah, 1 row, which is a minimum of 5 turns. Could be more if somebody's not really pushing it, but usually I think in the 5 to 6, maybe 7 range.
And you're going to see it coming because it's only one spot on that row a turn. So
yeah. And then once the game's over, you see who has the highest score, and they've won. Placement rules, if you're playing on the side of the board that has the fixed mosaic, it's really straightforward because you can only place a tile in a spot that matches that tile. If you're playing on the back side where it's free for all, basically each row and each column can only have a color once. So kind of like Sudoku rules almost with how their numbers are for rows and columns.
Yes, yeah, exactly like that. I mean, that's what the front side is. It's just a already
Just made
pattern.
for
Yeah,
you.
it's one made for you, but it has to match that same thing. So.
Yes. If you ever take tiles more than what you can fit in a given one of your rows, they fall down below. So like if you want to put something in your row that's 3 spaces and you take 4 tiles, one of them's going to fall below. That can become especially prevalent towards the end of a given round when there can be 6 of one color in the center. And depending on what spot you have open on your board, if you're up, you have to take a color.
Yeah,
you can't pass.
That's one thing on this is that you have to take until there are no more to take.
Yeah.
So you can, by looking at what other people have, well, that's more gameplay stuff, but yeah.
But yeah, any that you take that overfill a given row of your prep area fall down below and become negative points. Yeah. Can you guys think of any rules that are weird in this or hard to explain? I mean, it seems...
No, really, like...
It's a simple game.
It's definitely a simple game. You can't... Did you already say you can't grab, like, say you do red on the first column or the first row, red... you can't grab red again on there.
No, I don't think I mentioned that each of your prep rows have to be different colors. You can't mix colors in there.
Well, not just that too, that all has to be the same, but also once you fulfill red on the first column, you can't add red on there again. So when you're grabbing red, you can't, or not first column, but the first row, like up top, you can't add red on there again. So you can't use that to like put an extra red.
Yeah, because then you'd have more than one red in a row.
Yes.
Which you can't have.
Okay, I thought you were saying you can't, like, in the prep, you can't have more than one of the same color. I thought that's what
I think
you
I
said.
did say that, but you're right. That's not right. Because you could, in theory, do all of your reds.
Yes.
And put out all 5 of them. They just have to be staggered, and you'd score shit for bonus points.
Yes, yeah.
It'd be a real bad play.
Yeah.
But...
Well, and also for scoring each round, you just have to, you get 1 tile... 1 point for the 1 tile, and then points for adjacent to it. So you want to try and
chain
things to get as well as you can. So if it's like the blue on top and then the black underneath it, you'll get 1 for the blue, but then you'll get 3 or 2 for
2 for the black, for a total of 3 for the round.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you could somehow get really lucky in one round and fill an entire column top to bottom, you can score a lot of points. Because your first one in that column is going to be 1, and then 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9.
You'd get to, I think, 10 points that way. Yeah.
And then you get another
10 points
10
for
points
column.
for filling the column.
Yeah, so
that'd be a hell of a first round.
Yeah, you've done very well for yourself.
You've gotten 15 tiles, all different colors. Oops. Someone made oops.
Yeah, somebody didn't fuck you.
Yeah.
Like they probably should have.
Yeah. Like, I think we can talk about how easy it can be to do that.
Yes.
In gameplay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump over to gameplay. I think that's where most of the discussion for Azul is going to be. So the gameplay is pretty straightforward, especially starting out. You're just picking from a set of colors. You're picking one of them, and the rest go in the middle.
May I recommend picking the one that has the most of a color?
Yeah. Especially early on.
Not a bad plan.
And because you're drawing it all randomly from the bag, it's... You'll get a lot that have 2 or 3. I don't know if I've seen one that's just all 4.
I have.
I have.
It's
How
a little
quickly
bit
did
more
that
rare.
get taken?
Immediately. If there's one of those factories is 4 of one color, you
How
take
annoyed
it.
would you be is if like your 4 and 5 were filled with different colors and you saw that 4?
Oh, that'd be real pit.
Yeah.
You'd fuck that.
I
mean, it'd
my
still
question-
almost be worth
No,
it
my
to put
question
in the
is-
3
oh,
and
I would-
take the
no.
drop.
It 100% would. Would you be willing to put it in the 2?
I don't know if I can go that bad.
Because it will hurt you, but you're really screwing over the next person to deny them that.
Yeah.
So
It would depend on what the next person had available.
exactly.
Maybe they've only got their one spot.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, we'll just keep kicking this ball down the road here.
I definitely made that sort of mistake where I could have taken 5 of a color or something like that. It would
like
have
out of the middle or something.
out of the middle, and it would have completed me a row, but I would have taken like -9, -10 points or something like that.
It wasn't that many, but it was like negative. Oh no, it would have gotten you like an extra 7 points because it was like 3 tiles.
Yeah.
And you already had negative, like you already had
The first
dropped.
player down there.
And one, I think you had like 2 other ones in there too.
Yeah.
But you would have also gotten the
One of
color bonus.
Yeah, the one
which was
for
10
having
points. And I think
all
column
5.
is like 5, not 10. But
Yeah, I
kind of
can't remember for
Col-
sure.
Row is 2.
and then column is or not column, colors is 10.
Yeah,
so.
if you get all 5 of one color
Mhm.
on the board, it's 10.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes that
So I
all
could
of the reds in one fell swoop a little better.
No, it makes better for there, and then you can plan around it. But also, I don't even.
can never take red again.
Yeah, you can never take red again, so it's real easy for people to screw you over there.
Especially
take a red.
late.
But then also, once again, like Jeff said, that seems like a bad play from the other people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure.
So I didn't do that and then handed Zach like a 5 teal that just filled up his bottom row.
Yes,
But that made you feel warm and fuzzy.
I still lost.
I still won.
Yeah.
Oh. Jeff won a game of Azul.
Yeah.
Wow, this is one of those rare games where Jeff wins.
barely won too. Like
Yeah.
normally, it's the crushing
Crushing.
victory.
Yeah.
Jeff's either extreme,
Yeah.
devastating loss, or overwhelming victory.
Yeah.
Mhm. Just like the Gorm.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
The early parts, I like. There's definitely some strategy in like what ones you're trying to take versus what you want to push to the center. But I feel like really, it's at towards the end of the rounds where it gets really tight
Yes.
because then you're really trying to look and see, yeah, this one might be the best for me in a vacuum, but if I do this other one, it's actually going to hurt pretty much everybody
Yes.
else down the line. Like I
Exactly.
can really force people to take a lot of things they either can't place on their boards or that will way overflow and cost them
Which
points.
Jeff can attest, I did many times to V during our
Yes.
game.
Many, many
Wait,
times.
did V sit to your left again?
I gave her an out.
So many options to
V,
be like,
stop sitting to Zach's left. You're too nice of a person to sit to Zach's left. That's a spot that's reserved for like me and Paul. Like people who are deserving of that kind of punishment.
But yeah, it's because, whichever one you don't choose from the factory gets dumped into that center four. You really got to pay attention to sort of like you're saying, what you want, but really what other people are wanting. And so it's like, oh, I can grab this one that's good for me, but there's 2 black on this one, and it combines with the 2 black that's in the center. Now that's 4, and that's going to give Adrian a lot of points. And he's obviously going to take it.
Fuck yeah, I am.
Yeah. And so there's definitely a surprising amount of like decisions you want to make in this game on trying to get up definitely near the end of it. It's more important, but it feels very like, I don't want to say it feels scripted, but it's definitely like as you're getting closer, you're like, all right, if I do this, then I know you have to take this one. Jeff has to take this one, and I get to take this one. Or if I take this one now, Adrian has to take this, and then Jeff is fucked with all of these.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it comes up decently often enough that like it's a part of the strategy to look at what the repercussions are going to be for the next like when it gets down where there's like 4 or 5 colors left.
Yes.
It gets easy to kind of see, and you can sometimes see when you're in that 4th spot like oh god damn it.
Yep.
Like there's no way I'm not going to just lose a bunch of points right here.
Well, and it's like you're like, oh, I could take this one red from the factory, but then it dumps everything into the common, and that is really going to screw me because then there's only 3 colors left. Or I take it from the center, not fucking with the factory, and then or the supplier or whatever they call it.
I'm pretty sure it's factories.
And then that lets it go an extra round, so then I don't get fucked. Adrian gets fucked.
yeah.
It's all about trying to mitigate that who gets fuckedness.
Yes. Trying to keep it from you and pass it to everybody
Yes.
else.
spite drafting.
Yep. I mean, basically, it's kind of a tile drafting game.
Yep. It's spite drafting where everybody gets to see you. Gets to see you spite draft.
Yes.
It's never like, I got this thing, Adrian. It's like, no, you see these colors right here. I'm taking them, so you can't.
Yeah.
And now you're stuck with those.
You didn't want 7 blues, did you? No.
No, well, you got 'em.
Oh, that's too bad.
You got
sir.
them.
Yeah, it can be surprisingly mean. Have either of you played it at 2 players?
Jeff
Yes.
has.
Did you find it more mean at 2 or less mean? Because I've
Also,
heard it can
were you
be
playing
way
with a
more
mean player or a not mean player?
Mean
Okay.
player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it mean at 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it
Okay.
as mean as it was at 3?
I would say so.
Okay.
But you can easier calculate out the meanness in your head. It's
At 2
like,
versus 3?
yeah, because
Yeah.
you're not you're not jumping someone to be like, who's going to be me. You're just really going back and forth.
Yeah. Because I know that was something that like I'd seen recently, kind of looking up stuff for the game for the reviews, that somebody had mentioned that it is a game where if you really like it at 2, you might not like it as much at higher counts because it's not as mean, or vice versa. Maybe you like it the higher counts where it's a little less mean, and then you play 2 where it's like back and forth, just constantly screwing each other.
Yeah, you can't blame anyone else.
Yeah. It's you and whoever you're playing with.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of front stabs. That's all it is.
Yeah.
No back stabbing there. It's just on the chest and stomach.
I have to keep fighting to not make spoiler comments to some of these.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Stab me?
Quote of man who was stabbed.
Yeah, the only thing that really changes in 2-player is you only have 5 factories instead of 7 or 9.
Yeah, so the factories change depending on the amount of players. So you all have roughly the same amount of tiles that come out each round.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing I do like is on that, like the first couple rounds, when you're scoring your tiles and you're putting your tiles from your prep area to your mosaic spot, all the excess ones, like, you use the 4 red to, you fill out the 4 red, so you put 1 onto your mosaic spot, and the other 3 go to a discard pile. And so they're not like mixed back into the bag and you keep grabbing. They go to a discard pile and then you grab from the bag until it's empty, and then you throw everything in there. And so if a lot of people are focusing on reds in the beginning, when the bag gets shuffled back in, there's going to be a lot less reds in there because you're putting them on your tiles.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you a little bit a different distribution, like halfway through the game. And so if you're looking for certain things, you're like, well, everybody else got red, so they don't really care about it as much, but there's not really much red left for me to get.
Yeah.
You can count tiles a little bit.
A little bit, but yes.
Yeah. When the bag gets refilled, can be real nice in that situation.
Yes.
Like, that thing I want, it's back.
It's back, yay. Yeah.
Especially because like a lot of the games I've played, the discard ones, we just kind of throw in the box. So you can see, like,
Yeah.
there's a decent amount of red on both of their boards, and there's a shit ton of red in that discard.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there's not really a way to speed up when the bag refills. It's going to just refill at basically set intervals as tiles come out.
To an extent, yeah.
It gets
And it's-
faster the longer the game goes because more
Yeah.
tiles are coming out.
And I'm not sure if we expect, there's 100 tiles, 20 of each color.
Yes.
I don't think we've put a specific number on
Yeah.
it now.
Since we're talking about it.
Yes.
But yeah, like if 3 of us are building red for like the 5 of reds, and we had we're on the last round, each one of us had 4 of the 5 reds but we didn't have the 5th one, and then you shuffle in that bag, then that's 12. Like only 8 reds are going back into that bag. So having the timing of those things can be
Key.
Yeah.
Have either of you played with any of the expansions?
And the mini expansions.
Yeah, there's like
No.
3 mini expansions.
There's
There
two.
are 3 technically,
Okay.
but the 2 are basically the same thing, more or less.
Okay.
So there are 2 of them are factories that are just like it replaces a regular factory. With
Are each of the 2 different factories a different expansion, or are they
I
one
think
expansion?
so.
Oh,
The Special Factories promo has 2
Oh, okay.
okay.
in the same thing.
Okay. Then I guess there are just 2.
But that is also, there's 2 different promos in that.
Yes.
The Special Factory tiles, there's one that has a wall around it.
Oh, that's right. No. Well, yeah. Okay. No, I was thinking of something else.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there's one. Go ahead.
It's the one where you draft and nothing moves out of it.
Yes.
So it's say you have 4 colors in there. You grab the red again. I don't
And
know
the
why I
rest-
keep going to red, but
Yeah, sure, why?
but then the other ones just stay in there. So
Yeah.
and then the other one is you grab one from that factory, and then the other ones go to the factories to the sides of it.
To
Yeah,
left
and it's your choice.
Yes.
and
Left
or right.
Yeah.
But you can't split colors. So if you have 2 reds in there, you can't have a red go left and a red go right.
Can you
Right.
split the tiles?
Yes.
You can send some to left
Yes.
and some to right. Interesting.
Or
I don't
all
think we played that way. I think we were playing it's all to the left, all to the right, or all to the middle.
Those 2, you can spread them as you like.
Hmm.
Then there's also like
And they don't go to the middle.
You can't send them to the
no,
middle.
you
at all?
can't send them
We
to the-
definitely played
yeah.
that wrong then.
And then there's double score
Yeah.
tiles.
that are like for this round you score double for red or green, and you can only grab one.
And then that one's gone, so that color's gone. So then but you can only ever do it once. So your color that you want might be gone, but you still have other color options.
Yes. And then for me, the most interesting one is the Joker tiles,
which are also very nice looking.
Yes, they come in a smaller little bag.
They're like a clear acrylic with a design on them.
Yeah, there are 20 of them, and no, there are 10 of them. Sorry. And what happens is if you're playing with them, when you start the game, you take out 2 of each color, so you still have the 100 to go through. But now 10 of them are those, and they're basically wilds. You can choose when you grab one of those in a factory. You can also grab any amount of the same color that's different along with it. So you can grab,
but you have to grab a color along with it. You can't just grab the Joker.
You cannot just grab the Joker. Yeah, and then when you place it on your prep board, whichever. So say you have 2. You're putting it in the 2 red with another red, so that 2 red spot is done. When you score that round, you move the Joker tile onto the red spot. Yeah.
You may then also pick all tiles of one other color in the same location. So you don't actually have to take any additional colors with
that's not as interesting.
Wait, sorry, say that one more time for me.
You can pick all Joker tiles from any one factory display or the center of the table. If you do, in addition, you may then also pick all tiles of one other color from the same location, if possible.
So you can take just the Joker tiles.
The Joker tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was more interesting when you had to basically pick a color that was now what it was.
Yeah. But anyway, because the Joker's wild, when you finish that spot and you move it onto your mosaic, you have to move the Joker instead of the red, because now it's a Joker spot. And even if you were doing it on the 5 and you had 4 red and 1 Joker, it's now a Joker tile. And so when you put that Joker tile on there, you cannot get the color bonus. Yeah. So if you do 4 reds on your mosaic, and then you have 1 of the Joker tiles, it doesn't.
That
it doesn't
you played
count.
as a red.
Exactly. It doesn't.
You don't get the red bonus.
No more 10.
Yes. So the Joker tiles give you more options, which is nice, but I guess
you got to be careful when you use them.
Exactly.
I've played one game where we played with all of those. So we had both of the factory tiles and the Jokers and the doublers. And I don't know how I felt about it. I think that I don't know if I would recommend playing with all 4 of those different variants.
Yeah.
I think maybe mixing and matching a little bit, and you'd have to kind of play around to figure out what the ideal mix and match of them is.
I feel like the 2 times color one is the most unsubstantial one.
Yeah. I'd be fine with never playing with that one again. I did like the mosaic, the clear tiles.
The Jokers. Yeah.
If you're playing with both factories, I think you should house rule that they can't be adjacent, because that can lead to some fucking horse shit.
I would agree with that.
Where the one tile pumps a bunch of tiles onto the other one that then never leave it.
Yeah, because you can move tiles onto it from that other movie tile.
Yeah.
It can't leave anymore.
Yeah.
It's a new center.
But I think as long as those tiles are at least one space apart, it works fine.
Yeah, I can see that.
They came out adjacent in our one game of it.
What did you think of the base versus advanced side for the player board?
So I've gone back and forth. The first time I played the advanced side, I didn't like it as much. I felt like it was easier because although you have to follow those same rules about 1 per row and column, the fact you have all the flexibility made it easier to engineer combos around what you have versus having to choose things to match certain combos on the other side. But having kind of played both a few more times, I'm more ambivalent, I think, at this point. I think that they're both fine. I don't think either one's really objectively better than the other.
You basically just don't really care.
Yeah, the backside is nice because it can be different. You don't get into the same... I almost wish that different boards had different patterns. It was an asymmetric pattern kind of a thing. That way different people want maybe different things in different times, which is one of the nice sides about the gray. But I do think there is an element of strategic planning that's lost when you can put anything anywhere
Right.
as long as it follows those rules.
Uh-huh.
Because it gives you more flexibility to be like, oh,
It's a lot easier to build that column.
Yeah,
basically.
especially, and some of those early combos are easier to build too, because you can kind of build those, and then now I've established certain things and I have to work around those, and that can get difficult towards the end. But the game, because of it ending when just one row's filled, it doesn't go long enough for it to get down to where you're like one or two last space. Like, I've never seen somebody fill out all 25.
Oh, I mean, it's possible, but no, it's not.
Yeah. So,
At most, I've seen people. I think I've seen someone have 2 rows once, but that's.
so there's usually towards the end of the game enough leeway in what you're placing that you're not going to like back yourself into a weird corner in the late game on that open side. So I don't know. What about you guys? Jeff, did you play both sides?
No, I only ever played the first side.
Okay.
Never
What about you,
gray side.
Zach?
Same. I wanted to get a chance to play that, but it never had time to. But I've heard
Paul
and
is
Wes
100% only play the gray side. Like,
Yeah.
he thinks it's way, way better. But Wes, you
I
say?
think Wes liked the gray side better as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, for me, I'd happily play either side. You know, new players, I definitely play the pre-printed side because it's easy just to tell them you have to match what's on the fucking board, rather than explain the rule of like one per row or
Yeah.
column. You know, that's just one less rule that they have to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up gameplay. Unless you guys got anything else you want to add, Jeff. I think you've played it by far the most recently. Anything fresh in your mind about the game you want to talk about?
No, we sort of brought up everything in that game that sort of came up
Cool.
with Zach.
Fucking over V.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I could have taken that full row of 5, but that would have been real bad,
Mm-hmm.
but slightly less bad had I actually thought about it.
Yeah.
I could nitpick the scoring track. I wish you didn't have to go all the way from the right side back to the left side every time.
Right.
But it looks better, but doesn't have the like nice S
Snake. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely one that I think you'll do better at on your second playthrough.
Yeah.
But just because I think at like the very beginning, you might not figure out the better ones to pick.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're like Jeff won his first game that he played.
Yeah.
So it's not like. So I guess that entire thing I just said is useless because if Jeff can win on his first game, no, no, it's I don't know. It's you can make early mistakes in this game, but you're not screwed by them. I
Yeah.
don't think because it's all based on which tiles are adjacent. It's like if you place one out later, it won't hurt you as much, but you're not gonna get as many points as if you're doing optimally.
Well, so if you go back to like that thing I said earlier, like if you somehow got all 5 of one color, you know, you're going to place them in this diagonal line. So ignoring the fact you now have all 5 of one color, so you get that bonus. Ignoring that, you're only going to score 1 per tile that you've placed. You're only going to get 5 points. But then in future rounds now, you have a lot more spaces where you're going to score 3 points when you place there. Because it's going to be adjacent to 2 tiles, any one of those corners. So those early mistakes of not comboing early can set you up for nice combos later.
But like if on the same row you build one in the center and then one on the far left, that's only 2 points each, and then you put one in the center of those, then that's 3, so that's 5 points. But had you done that center one first, so you did the third one, then you did the center one, then like the second one for 2 more points, so that's 3, and then the leftmost one for 3, so that's 6 points.
Yeah.
So obviously, better planning is going to get you more, but it's
for sure.
5 versus 6. It's not the end of the world.
Correct.
This isn't like 18xx or Food Chain Mounting where you fuck up once and you're like, all right, well,
no, this
game's
is
over.
very beginner friendly.
Yes. Hence the
number 1 family
and number
all
1
time.
abstract.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the award winner. So
Spiel des Jahres. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this bitch up with some final thoughts. Jeff, let's start with you for final thoughts. Again, you've played this the most recently. You were the one that we were waiting on to get plays for this review. So what did you end up thinking What did all the hype pay off? Did it live up to it? What'd you think of Azul?
The hype paid off as much as it can for like a game this light and friendly to newcomers. There is always room for more entry-level games into the hobby, and I think this one is a fantastic option. It doesn't have any weird theme or anything to scare anyone off about, dragons or fairies or birds. It's entry level and it's easy enough to understand how to play. You just have to keep track of it's those learning those skills about drafting and what you want to draft versus making other people draft things that aren't going to be such hot options that I am used to, but I could see other people enjoying this game to learn those now core board game life skills.
Yes. I can understand. Yeah, I agree with that.
And I'm slightly more excited about trying out the stained glass and not just as a Sagrada ripoff. It seems to be, I don't know. Now that I've played Azul, I kind of want to play the Azul stained glass.
Yeah,
fair enough. For me, I really like Azul. I liked it back when I played it. Initially, I don't know, 2 years ago. I've liked it every time I've played it since. Even my most recent time with the expansion stuff, even if I thought throwing all of those in was maybe a little bit too much. I think that there's enough strategy, especially in that end part of it, about paying attention to what other people are doing so that you can try to not get screwed and maybe screw somebody else. Like you can play it really nice where you're not going to dump 10, piles on somebody if you're like trying to introduce somebody new and you don't want to just shit all over them. But there's still enough of a
trial by fire.
Even if you're playing that kind of a friendly game, there's still enough room to be like, I need to make sure I don't get screwed, even just on accident by somebody who doesn't realize that they're about to dump 10 tiles on me. That keeps you engaged. And then just the general puzzle of like trying to get tiles to fit. It's one of the things that the gray side grew on me more the more I played it, is just trying to formulate a plan of how you want to get those tiles out there and what order and how that can make or break your chaining points. Yeah, I really like it. It's got great components, looks great on a table, takes up a small enough space you can play on a smaller table. All around, it's what it is. It's an absolutely fantastic intro game. I think it's well-deserved of a lot of the awards it's won. Zach, what do you think?
I do like it, and I do want to touch on the awards it won after this.
Okay.
I do like it. I think it's a great intro, gateway game, and it can teach people meanness in games, but not like random meanness, but more focused. I feel like because versus like Munchkin and some of the other ones are like playing cards of like, oh, I got this, so I can use this whenever I want. But it's my decisions are definitely gonna be based around what other people need in trying to screw with that as much as possible. Components are good, especially now that it is no longer absolutely unplayable.
Literally unplayable.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I mean, basically what you guys said. I think this is definitely a game where if I kept playing it, I feel like I'd get sick of it.
Yeah.
But I haven't played, like, I play it not as often enough to have that happen, if that makes sense.
We have so many options for filler games.
Exactly.
This one's not the one that hits the rotation all the time.
Yeah. And I feel like it's never really worn out its welcome. Even though it technically could go as many rounds as people would want, usually it only goes 5 to 6 rounds.
30 to 45 minutes.
Exactly. And I think it doesn't outstay its welcome at that point. And it always feels like the scores are fairly close. And even though when the tiles come out are random, so sometimes it can be like, oh, well, Adrian was first player and he happened to get the 3 black that he really needed to get him a lot of points or whatever. It never really felt like, it felt like you were usually in control or understanding that other people were fucking with you enough to just not blame them more than the game.
Yeah, I agree. That's what saved it for me, is that, I can usually look back and be like, I should have done this a couple turns ago, or, well, you guys all did the exact right things to fuck me, not Oh, the game randomly fucked me.
Right. Yeah. I liked it.
Cool. You want to talk about awards?
Well, I just specifically the spiel that it won because it won Game of the Year. So it was Azul, Luxor, and The Mind.
Yes.
Do you feel like none of us have played Luxor?
Nope.
Between this and The Mind, do you think this should have won?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with this winning over The Mind. As much as I like The Mind, maybe even more than I like Azul, I think that, especially what Spiel des Jahres is supposed to represent, I think that this is a better example for that. The Mind is one of those things, it's going to be a little player dependent. It's not necessarily, it's really simple and there's not a lot to The Mind, but it does a lot, which I think is great. Like, one of the things I love about it is like, it's one of those where it's like, how the fuck was this not a thing beforehand? It's so simple. But this, I think, is a better job of being an intro to the wider hobby.
And
it has more
and a more standard game too.
Yeah, it uses like things like drafting and set collection and tile placement. That will you can use this as a springboard onto other things, whereas The Mind is just The Mind. It's like in a world of its own. So
Yeah, I don't know what other skills I'm learning in The Mind except patience.
Yeah.
reading body
Synchronizing.
language.
Synchronization.
You're learning how to touch other people's hands.
My psychic powers are growing.
All right. Well, then also going off of that too, the Kennerspiel, the winner of that one was Quacks, which originally when I introduced us reviewing this game, it was going to be both of them. But then Adrian just has never gotten to play this game.
Yeah. Play Quacks.
Play Quacks.
I actually wanted to try it. I don't think I'm going to like it, but
No.
I wanted to try it.
Well, and really, I was going to ask Jeff, do you feel that like that one is a more connoisseur game over Azul?
Is Quacks more
Yeah.
connoisseur?
Yeah.
No.
So really, honestly, when I was trying to think, because when they first did it, I was like, I almost want to have them switch the other way.
Yeah.
But I think what it is just that Quacks has a lot of like
gamier things.
a lot of little rules that
Yeah.
like Adrian likes to talk about, where it's not deeper gameplay. It's not deeper rules. It's just more rules and
wider.
It's because you just have little things to think about of like, well, what does this one do? Okay. Well, what does this one do? Okay. And I feel like that is what pushed that into the connoisseur one.
Yeah, like remembering you need to, if is the green at the last to second to last,
Yeah.
then you get this.
Yes. So I just thought that, like, I do find it interesting that I feel like this is definitely a thinkier game, as much as I hate to use that phrase.
I feel like I saw you convulse
I know.
as you said it.
Than Quacks, but the
Shudder.
yes. But the Quacks got the more gamer level one.
Yeah.
So
Sooner or later, people will be able to buy Quacks. So
yeah. Expansion on it is almost out too. So
yeah, sold out everywhere. Azul
Not so
available
much- yeah.
everywhere.
Yep.
And then this is also a game that has the giant Azul does have that giant Azul edition.
Which I was going to mention earlier, and now we can. Did that get enough to make that happen?
I never heard.
I never heard either.
I remember seeing the giant version last year at Geekway, and then I remember them trying to raise money to make it, and then I heard nothing else about it ever again. So I do not know.
Pre-orders are now open as of the 21st of May 2018.
Is it still redonkulously cost prohibitive?
I'm sure
I'm sure it is. Because basically each one, like each tile is like 4 tiles put together.
This product is no longer available for pre-order. So who knows if it got good or not? They needed 500 people.
Yeah. Never heard whether they actually got it or not.
Now that was a table hog.
Oh, God. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
And it looked good, but also like this is just too much,
Yeah.
especially for what the game is.
Yeah. It didn't. It was a good thing for them to have at conventions. And I get why people be like, ooh, that's amazing. I wish I had it. But I feel like most people, if they really stop to think about it, are like, there's no reason for me to ever actually have that.
And didn't it come out to like $300?
Something like that.
Stupid expensive. Don't know what
It's got a cool
ended up.
case.
Yeah, it's got a great case.
Still a weird cardboard first player took. No.
It's quadruple thick though, so it's the thickness of the tiles, but it's cardboard.
Yeah.
That would be impressive. Very thick punch board.
All right. Let's move on here to some listener feedback to round out this review. Zach, do you have those pulled up over there on our BGG thread?
I do, but before that, I'm going to say that in our Slack Patreon chat, Boyd wanted to contribute that he liked the game, and then that was all.
Okay.
So,
good job, Boyd.
Yeah, good job, Boyd.
Solid contribution.
As always.
I would feel bad about the amount of shit I give him if it weren't for the fact that he gives me redonkulous amounts of shit on that fucking Slack channel.
You're not wrong. And also, he seems to enjoy it. So it's
Yes.
First one is from Alex from France.
It's also, he's now Alex from France on Slack, which I love.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad that happened.
Yes. I have played it once and have no will to replay it again. I often say I would rather lay actual tiles in a house than play this game. It is in the okay zone. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. It literally creates no emotion for me, which I can understand that.
Yeah, it's pretty dry.
It's a pretty dry one, and it's like, I remember liking Splendor, but there are a lot of people that are like, Splendor is absolutely nothing for me. So
yeah, well, a lot of people really like Isle of Skye, and just it's dead for you.
It's
So I get it. It's not for everybody.
Yep. Next one's from Nick. I really enjoy Azul as a 2-player game. It's very thinky, and it can be very mean. I haven't played a 3-player yet, but I don't have a lot of desire to play it at 4 anymore. For me, the game breaks down a bit at a higher player count, as it's more difficult to track all the players around the table and what they need. Among 4 experienced players, this isn't as much of an issue, as all players should be checking what the player to their left needs and draft accordingly. However, I found that if any player is less experienced, the player to their left ends up running away with the game unchecked, which can happen in a lot of drafting games. There's one.
Terraforming Mars?
No. I mean, no.
It can.
But no, it's something. It's not Seven Wonders, but there is a game that's like maybe Puerto Rico or something like that. But it's not really drafting as much, but it's like less experienced people can make it. Can sort of break the game.
Okay.
In that. I wouldn't necessarily say as much for this one, but I can understand not wanting to play it 4 because you have a higher chance of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is from Chad. Great family game. I often bring games to the family cabin in the summer, and the wife and in-laws, all of whom aren't into board games, loved it. Multiple plays the night that I introduced it, and multiple requests to bring it back out. It's one of those games that's kind of awkward to explain, though. The drafting is fine, but the placement rules need to be seen to be understood. Always run into the hiccup in teaching the game to new players because of that, and I've eventually just gone to showing exactly how it works on the player board instead of trying to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few games where that style of teaching works better.
Yes, definitely. And the last one is from RZ. This is the kind of game where, yes, I can understand that it's a different puzzle, and yes, I can understand that there's a fair amount of agency and decisions to be made, but I just don't really find the fun in it. Also, it's something that you have to be wary of at 2 players. It morphs into a much more cutthroat game, which is fine if you like that sort of thing. You just have to be careful assuming if you like the 2-player version that you'll like the 3 to 4 player version, and vice versa.
Yeah. That's kind of what I've seen that in multiple places, that people feel it can get real mean at 2 players if both people are inclined to play it that way, and that might not be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I'd like to play it at 2 players. I think I need to try and borrow somebody's copy and see what it'd be like with Megan and I at 2 players, because we got to find games that like tread that line. Like we can't get too mean, because then one of us inevitably gets angry. Usually me.
That does not surprise me at all.
But we also, we have co-op games for like lovey-dovey work together games. So like if we're playing a competitive game, we want to be competitive.
Yeah.
Just got to find that fine line of like, how mean is too mean? So,
I think war would do well for you.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's a perfect level of meanness.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely predetermined.
Exactly.
Nothing I am doing is affecting you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It just helps you show
Because I'm not doing anything but turning over a card.
It's just a great game at showing that there's no actual free will in the world.
Yes,
So.
everything is predetermined.
Yep.
Cool. That wraps up listener feedback, which brings this review basically to a close. If you are interested after the review in picking up a copy of Azul, it is pretty damn widely available, and it is running about $30 pretty much everywhere you go. You can get it for, I see here, anywhere from 32 to down to 22, maybe with or without shipping. Don't know. But I think it's a reasonable cost for this game. The component quality bumps the price up a little bit more than maybe what the gameplay itself might indicate, but I think there's good gameplay here. I'd spend $30 on it. So that's Azul, widely available. If you would like to get a hold of us, there are plenty of different ways to do so. You can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Jeff had no emails to read all week. He's withering away.
They weren't work-related.
Yeah. Those never count. We also are all three on Twitter. I tweet under at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys. Our website, milehighgameguys.com, has episode posts with links to things like BGG posts and BGG pages for the games we talk about, or links to the news items, things like that. There are also links to our Slack channel, which is a bunch of fun if you want to talk about whatever random shit. There's currently Avengers Endgame and Game of Thrones spoiler channels if you want to talk about all of that kind of shit. And there's links to our BGG guild number 2731, where you can participate in these weekly episode posts. Give us your thoughts about the games we review or the topics we discuss either before or after, and we'll use them in that listener feedback section that we do every week. And there's also links over there to our Patreon if you want to support the show, patreon.com/milehighgameguys. Like I said, all of those links can be found, milehighgameguys.com. I think that pretty much wraps it up. All the different ways to get a hold of us.
Yep.
Which brings the episode to a close. I think we're going to be under an hour on this one, as shocking as that may be.
Keep talking. We'll get there.
I know. I'm trying to draw it out. Just rambling.
But then you're going to, with editing.
I know. It's a fine balance.
You're going to go under.
I think we're under. So
still longer than the game, though.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that wraps it all up. I won't drag it on anymore. I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Ceramic Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Also, it is 7 points for a vertical column.
I was close. I went too high, but then I slowly was coming back down.
You went too high, and then I felt like you went below.
No, I said.
I thought you bracketed.
No, I said 10 and then 8.
Oh, I thought you said 10 and then 5.
No, 5 is for the. I did actually. You're right.
Yeah,
bitch. All right, I'm just. Jeff, just go ahead and edit this out of the. You're not editing. You're not. I'm not letting him edit this one.
You have to learn to edit with no input.
Great.
Just so you can cut out that part. And
okay.
That's it.
Got it.
Then just release it otherwise.
Yeah.
This
week we're going to be reviewing the 2018
17.
I definitely tweeted wrong earlier.
That's fine. When I was doing the thing for the BGG, I was right, like, oh, here it's this date for this number, blah blah blah, and I was like, wrote 2018, and I looked and I was like, oh, it was 2017.
See, I think I must have saw it before you corrected.
Yes.
Maybe. Because I feel like I definitely recently saw somebody say 2018.
I mean, but it won the 2018 Spiel des Jahres, so.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, I thought you were talking about it's because it's a 2017 game.
Oh,
yeah.
Then no. Okay, so.
Okay.
You guys just got ahead of yourselves trying to correct my inevitable mistakes.
Yes.
And this time there wasn't
Start talking again so we can do it again.
Yeah.
Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.